Hello, everybody. I am Evan Lasek, and I am joined here by,
Austin Groft.
and we're going to talk to you guys here about NFL football so far this season and what we expect for the rest of the football season.
All right, so we're going to get started by talking about some of last week's games. First, we're going to talk about the Thursday night game, Eagles versus Packers. Eagles won 34-27 over the Packers. A big win, moves the Eagles to 2-2.
That was a great game. Carson Wentz threw 3 touchdowns, not a lot of yards, but the offense seemed like it was back in a groove, mainly probably because he wasn't throwing to Nelson Aguilar at all.
Yeah, also Jordan Howard had a big day. He had 15 attempts for 87 yards and 2 touchdowns, so he really helped out the Eagles. It's nice to see them use Jordan Howard more in the backfield. Especially, I've noticed they haven't been using him as much, but I think he's really talented and he's a strong workout horse running back that
Yeah,
I think they should start using more.
I think what they're trying to do is get Miles Sanders experienced and rush him into the NFL, which is a mistake. You should really try to watch him more and let him grow behind an experienced back like Howard. But the defense for the Eagles, they played well enough to beat Aaron Rodgers, but they also took a big hit at corner. So we're going to see how that plays out this season.
Yeah. All right, next up, the Patriots and Bills. The Patriots won 16-10.
The Patriots almost lost that game. Tommy Time did not look bad, but he didn't look good. He didn't look like his original self, which is expected. He's 42 years old. But Josh Allen threw 3 picks, which killed the Bills. So the defense of the New England Patriots is just ridiculous, don't you think?
Yeah, no, it's so good. The Patriots are unreal. I mean, you can say, oh, the first touchdown was scored against them. That was by one touchdown. I think it was Josh Allen. He reached over the end zone. Yeah, that was the only touchdown they allowed. But, other than that, their defense is locked. And also, give credit to the Bills' defense for stopping Tom Brady. He was 18 of 39 for only 150 yards. That's crazy. The fact that they were able to stop Tom Brady and Bill Belichick is pretty impressive. I think the Bills are gonna surprise some people this year. Hopefully, Josh Allen recovers fast with that
Yeah,
concussion.
I'd love them to challenge the Patriots for the race for the AFC
Oh
East,
yeah.
but it never happens. They always somehow manage to come out and I'm just scared of seeing them go 16-0. That would not look good for the rest of the NFL.
Yeah, actually, I wrote down the Patriots' schedule here, and the big games they have. I guess you could say the Ravens are a big game. They got the Eagles and the Cowboys back to back. Those would be some challenges. And they're playing the Chiefs, the other AFC competitor. So that's gonna be a good one coming up later down the road.
Yeah, so that's really going to challenge them. Hopefully there are some teams in there that can go 16-0. The Giants benched Eli Manning. We don't have Nick Foles anymore. I mean, we as in the Eagles, but those are the guys that beat him in the Super Bowl. So those are the last hopes, and they don't play them anymore. But to move on to another almost upset, the Chiefs almost lost to the Detroit Lions. Now the Eagles lost to the Lions, which makes that loss hurt a little less, seeing what they did against the Chiefs. But there were way too many turnovers in there. I think the Lions turned the ball over 3 times through fumbles, but they also forced about 3 or 4 fumbles. So it was a fantastic showing for them.
This was definitely an interesting game. I mean, when I was watching it personally, there were some debatable calls. There was a lot of challenges and stuff, and a lot of the plays could have gone the other way. It was just it was a very competitive and entertaining game to watch personally, and I was cheering for the Lions so hard. That would have been amazing to see the Chiefs lose. And honestly, since we're both Eagles fans, it would have been great to see for the Eagles perspective.
That would have been so much better.
But give credit to Matt Patricia too. He's been doing a great job with the Lions.
He really has been. He's a great defensive player. I mean, not defensive player, defensive coach. Even when he was the coordinator for the Patriots, that's why their team was always good. Now he's coming to the Lions and he's doing great things for them.
All right, are those all the games you want to talk about for this week?
Now let's touch on the Cowboys Saints game because that was a crazy one. There was no offensive touchdowns for the Saints, even with Teddy Bridgewater and Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas. Those are all still decent players. Well, Thomas and Kamara are, of course, great players, but to not put up a touchdown and still win, that's pretty great signs for your defense there.
Oh yeah, for sure, that is great. I thought this was like you said, a huge defensive battle. It was entertaining to still watch, but honestly, Dak Prescott didn't even play that bad. He did throw an interception. It just seemed like the Cowboys' offense wasn't really clicking that much this game. Like you're saying, the Saints' defense is playing well.
Yeah, Dak had his moments where he made great passes, but then other times it was just terrible reads. It was terrible throws. So I'm interested to see what happens when he plays more great competition like that, because the first 3 games of his schedule were super easy. They were two terrible teams in the Giants and the Redskins, and then, of course, the Dolphins. So they were just able to roll over them.
Also, the note, Ezekiel Elliott had 18 carries for 35 yards for the Saints defense. Holding him to only 35 yards is very impressive.
That is very impressive. Their defense may be the real deal. Not as good as the Patriots defense, but they are still really good. Now, let's talk about our top 10 teams through week 4 of the NFL season here. What you got, Austin?
So I'm going to start with my 10. I'm going to start at 10 and move down to 1. At
All right.
10, I got the San Francisco 49ers. They're
Surprise
3-0, but, like, I would have them higher. My ranking's based off of, like, how I think the team's going to end up.
Yeah, not record.
It's not based off record. So, like, respect to the 49ers, I'm still not really sure what they're going to do. Again, I want to see them play some better teams, but give props to their coaching staff. Like, their run game's insane. They've been running on 57% of their
they
plays.
got 3 different running backs
Exactly.
just killing it.
They don't have a single running back that's doing all the work. It's 3 different running backs, which is also good for them because it's unpredictable of what they're going to do, and it makes the defense think a little bit. And then at 9, I got the Packers. That defense was exposed a little bit against the Eagles. That was, like, by far, like, the highest points I would score this season, I think. But, like, before, their defense was playing outstanding. People were shocked. Like, they got a young defense. It's impressive.
Yeah.
So then I got 8. I got the Seahawks. I think Russell Wilson's been playing amazing this year. I think he's really underrated. I think the Seahawks can shock some people this year as well.
Yeah, they're not talked about enough, I think.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I love watching Russell Wilson play, and I love watching. Like, he doesn't have Doug Baldwin. He's really got Tyler Lockett, and he's got the rookie DJ Metcalf, and he's got Will Disley. Like, they're all, like, average guys, but Russell Wilson's making them look great.
Yeah, he's deserved that contract so far. He's the only reason.
Oh, for sure. I agree with that.
They got a big game coming up against the Rams.
Rams
on Thursday.
tomorrow, yeah.
That's a huge divisional matchup.
Yes, sir. And then at 7, I got Buffalo. I think the Bills, like I was saying earlier, can surprise some people. At 6, I got the Dallas Cowboys. At 5, I got the Philadelphia Eagles. Even though, like, they're 2-2, I think they're going to recover and have a strong
Keep moving
finish.
forward.
Exactly. At 4, I have the Rams. 3, I have the Saints, like we were saying. Their defense is strong, and they're winning without Drew Brees. They're 3-1. I think when they get Drew Brees back, they'll be fine. And 2, I have the Chiefs, and 1, Patriots.
Yeah,
those are the obvious ones.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen Chiefs at 1, Patriots at 2, but, like, those are definitely the top 2 teams in the league right
if
now.
you're not putting them at 1 and 2, then what are you doing?
Yeah.
Really? Like, all right, so 10, I got the Eagles, which that's mainly just a factor of their defense. I know they produce kind of against the Packers, but they're still going to sit at 10 until their defense can prove something to the NFL and to me, as like personally, like they have not been that impressive on the defensive side of the ball. 9, I have the Cowboys, just because of the explosive, like amazing defense and the sometimes explosive offense. 8, I have the Seahawks, like you said. We both have, I believe, the Seahawks and the
8.
Bills at 8 and 7. The Seahawks are just so untalked.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, in my picks this week, I have the Seahawks beating the Rams. Like, I don't know why people aren't really talking about the Seahawks. I've been talking to my friends about them. Like, you got to watch them. They're the real deal. Like, they can surprise people, and they've got the factors.
Russell Wilson hasn't even thrown an interception
That's what I'm
yet.
saying. Like, for fantasy teams, like, he's been killing it for fantasy perspectives.
Yeah, they play smart football. He's a great quarterback. 7, I have the Bills. Bills' defense is going to carry the team all season long, I assume, unless
sure.
Josh Allen can somehow manage to not be how he was against the Patriots,
yeah.
more or less.
I think that was just because of the Patriots' defense.
It's got to be.
Yeah, for sure.
I got the 49ers at 6 because they have key players like Tevin Coleman, the other running back. He's coming back now. So their offense is going to get even more explosive. If Jimmy G can keep the turnovers to a minimum, then his offense is just going to keep rolling and keep flowing very nicely. The Bears are going to be at 5, and I only put them there because Mitch Trubisky is now gone.
Yeah, honestly.
With not Case Keenum, with Chase Daniels, the Bears are going to be much better, I think.
That's a bold one right there. The Bears. I have not been a fan of the Bears personally this season because of Mitch Trubisky. I get your point there with Chase Daniels. I've never really been a Mitch Trubisky fan. Like, I don't really like his play. Like, he's had some bad passes, and he's not been that accurate this season.
Yeah, I didn't think he got drafted above Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, exactly.
And Patrick Mahomes, and that's terrible. That's so bad.
Yeah.
The Packers are at 4. They are the real deal because Aaron Rodgers, he's getting into a groove with the offense now. He's getting comfortable with LaFleur's new offensive scheme. Devontae Adams is lost this week to against the Cowboys, but it's Aaron Rodgers.
Exactly.
You can't bet
Yeah.
against Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Then the Saints are at 3. When Breeze comes back, they may even jump up more. It depends on what we see from the rest of the team. But the Saints are the real deal, too. Their defense has stepped up. They stepped up against the Cowboys in a huge way. Teddy Bridgewater just needs to figure out how to finish off drives. Give the ball to Kamara again. That really worked for them. The Chiefs are, of course, at 2. You can't put them in Chiefs and Patriots anywhere else.
Yeah,
but 2
exactly.
and 1 right now.
Looking at our list, they're pretty identical. I don't think you had the Rams in your top 10, correct?
Yeah, no, I do. I'm not a big fan of the Rams this season. Like, yeah, they have a great defense again, but I don't see much out of the offense. Jared Goff, I didn't like him at first. I don't think he deserved the giant extension he does, which is going to bring me into the next part of our conversation here is these mega extensions, especially for quarterbacks. So Jared Goff is one of the highest paid quarterbacks, and I don't frankly think he's earned that money.
I would agree with you too. Like, I don't think Jared Goff's anything special. I mean, he's a decent quarterback, but watching him play this season, I don't know, something's been off with him compared to his last season. It just hasn't been himself.
Yeah, like they haven't lost any receivers. They didn't really lose anybody on offense.
And they also have Cooper Kupp back.
Yeah, and I don't understand. He has on the season, I believe he has 1,200 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 6 picks. That's just unacceptable numbers for a top 5 paid quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
I think the defense just carries him, and I think he's just way overhyped.
Also, I want to make a note about the Rams, about like the whole running back issue. I think Todd Gurley had like only 5 rushes for 16 yards, and I think they rushed it maybe a total of like 15 times, and it was all passing the last game against the Buccaneers. I mean, that game was a shootout, but still, I'm a little curious. I'm a little skeptical about what's going on with the rushing game with the Rams.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely ridiculous that they're not using one of the best running backs in the league. They're using him as a committee, and you just don't use a guy like Todd Gurley as a committee. But throwing it back, Russell Wilson, he is the highest paid quarterback right now, and frankly, he deserves it because he's doing everything for the Seahawks. He hasn't thrown a pick yet. He's playing smart football. He's got them on a winning record almost on top of the NFC West. So I believe that money was well spent. But the problem is, for the next few years, how are you going to pay other players that money? Because he's just taking this giant cap away from the Seahawks to pay other playmakers on offense to help him out.
I mean, yeah, that's a great point you're making. I mean, the roster looks really good right now. Like, and I was saying earlier about Russell Wilson and his supporting cast, like his receivers and stuff. He's just making the players around him already better. So I think that's one of the things that the Seahawks were looking at when paying him that much money. He's a great leader. He's a great guy to be around, and he, like I said, he makes his teammates better.
Now I got to ask you, do you think these mega extensions are worth it to teams and like fans rooting for the teams that know they're going to be stuck with the team? Like Matt Ryan, for example, he just got paid a giant extension too. He's leading their team to a 1-3 record, I believe. 2-2, 1-3.
Yeah,
it's not good. Nonetheless.
It is not good at all. I don't know what's going on in Atlanta right now. Matt Ryan, he's like you were saying, that's a bold move right there. I mean, he did have a really good season last year, but this season he's not playing well at all.
I know we saw his play drop last season too, and they did not make it to the playoffs, I believe, but they got to figure out something over there in Atlanta. Now, with all this being said, do you think Dallas is still going to pay Dak all that money that he wants?
That is a great question right there. So we go back and we look when Zeke and Dak don't have contracts, and Jalen Smith. Zeke holds out. What does Dak do? He goes to camp. He shows up. They don't have to pay him. I mean, if Dak holds out, they're definitely going to pay him 100% because he's their quarterback. Look at how he's playing this season. The first 3 games. I know his last game doesn't really show what he's been doing this season. First 3 games, he's been playing unreal. Now, that's just like crazy to believe that they haven't paid him yet. And obviously Zeke, people say like Zeke's their offense, but you can also argue it's Dak. Like Dak's been playing unreal, and I think they're gonna pay him, but they're kind of just like waiting to see how things play out right now. But if I were them, I would definitely pay him because the way he's been playing right now.
Interesting. See, I always thought Dak was too inconsistent to earn a $40 million. But then you look at other players on this list, and you realize that they're all very inconsistent. Like Jared Goff, very inconsistent. The only consistent players I believe that are getting paid like it are Carson Wentz, who's putting up a good bit of numbers, he's still just below the 1,000-yard mark on passing, but he's playing a consistent team, and they're getting the run game going more. But if you pay Dak $40 million, you're stuck with him for a little bit. And what if something happens? What if he gets hurt? What if he starts dropping off? What if receivers are gone? Then you never know. And as a fan, you have to live with him as your quarterback now. And as a team, if he starts dropping off as a player, then you're paying him still so much money to do that.
Yeah, that's the huge risk. You never know with like players and quarterbacks and stuff. Like obviously Matt Ryan, he had a great start of the season last year, and as you said, he kind of dropped off, and they paid him a little early. It's a high risk, high reward. I mean, if you take Dak Prescott for example, he's a young player right now. He's been playing well. You can take the risk and pay him, but also like if he's going to be like this for the next following couple next years, it's going to be high reward. I mean, the Cowboys, they might be able to make a super run here, and even this year, next year. Like, I think it was ESPN released their power rankings, or I forget exactly where I saw it, but I saw people are predicting that it's going to be Patriots and Cowboys now in the Super Bowl.
That's an interesting take there. I know Patriots. It's got to be the Patriots or Chiefs, honestly.
Yeah.
But the NFC is still wide open. If Drew Brees comes back completely healthy, then he may be looking for a revenge tour, trying to.
Oh, I can't wait to look forward to the NFC playoff picture. It's so competitive right now. There's so many solid teams that can make the playoffs. It's crazy.
Yeah, the Buccaneers are a real surprising team.
That's what I'm saying.
3-1 sitting at it. That's insane. But the AFC it's more of a closed race, honestly. You have the two top teams and then nothing.
Oh yeah.
The NFC West is actually really surprising. There's the 3-0 49ers and the 3-1 and 3-1 Seahawks and Rams. They are that's a real competition there for them.
Oh yeah.
All right, so we're gonna move on now to
our game picks for this week.
Yeah, that's a good idea. All right, so who you got going for? List a few games that you think are gonna be the interesting ones to watch.
Okay, so first off, tomorrow night's game, Thursday night game, Rams Seahawks. Seahawks are favored by 1.5 points. They're home. I am taking the Hawks. I'm huge on the Seahawks this year because people are not talking about them. They're very underrated. Like I was saying earlier, Russell Wilson, he's my guy. He's probably like, since I'm an Eagles fan, but other than Carson Wentz, he's probably one of my favorite quarterbacks in the league. I love watching Russell Wilson.
Yeah, Russell Wilson is a great quarterback. Great person, too, off the field. I really hope he does good this season. The Rams-Seahawks games are always very competitive, very exciting to watch. Could be high scoring, could be low scoring. We don't know. Both defenses are good. Both offenses are good. I'm interested in the Cardinals-Bengals game, of course, because that is the toilet bowl this week.
Yeah.
We got the 0-3-1 Cards versus the 0-4 Bengals. And I'm not expecting much from this game. It just means that one team is going to get their first win of the season.
I mean, Kyle Murray was hyped up this year, but Cardinals aren't that great of a team, and he doesn't really have a supporting cast, so he's out there hustling, but it's going to be a fun game to watch.
He's trying.
Honestly, I think it might be a competitive game since both teams are like looking to get a win.
I'd rather see who finishes the race for the first overall pick this year. That's going to be the exciting one. We got the Packers-Cowboys. That's going to be a huge game.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's a great one, too. It's going to be nice for us Eagles fans to see how the Cowboys do against the Packers. I mean,
hoping for a loss.
This could be a defensive battle with the Packers' defense bounce back from what the Eagles did to them last week. Like you said, the Cowboys got a great defense. Let's see what Aaron Rodgers can do against them.
Yeah, we got
Maybe
Aaron
the
Rodgers
Packers can
Devontae
stop.
Adams.
Oh yeah,
Ooh.
that's gonna be cool.
It's gonna be a great game. I think.
Oh yeah. Games I'm looking at right now: Ravens Steelers.
Ooh, that is
divisional
gonna be a
battle of
game.
both teams. I believe the Steelers are 1-3, right?
No, 2-2. Wait, yeah, they are 1-3.
They're 1-3.
Ravens are 2-2.
Ravens are 2-2. Now, I took a note of this. My friend told me about this. It's kind of interesting. If the Steelers win and the Browns lose, that means the Browns, Steelers, and Ravens will all be 2-3. But the Steelers are going to be winning the division due to head-to-head matchups.
That is actually crazy. That blows my mind right there. The Steelers started 0-3. And if you're telling me they come back with 2 straight wins and somehow manage to lead their division, whew.
Steelers fans, there's still hope out there for you.
Steelers Nation.
Cross your fingers, Mason Rudolph. Maybe he can play well.
Mason Rudolph, get Juju involved more.
Yes, sir.
Hurting my fantasy team a little bit.
And another game that may not be talked as much, I don't know how hyped this one is the Browns and the Niners. That's the Monday night game.
I was just about to say that one, too.
Yeah.
That is a very important game because, like you just said, if the Browns lose, they're not in first place anymore.
Exactly.
But the 49ers really want to be 4-0 for the first time in for like 30 years maybe?
Oh, yeah.
Jerry Rice. It's been a long time, but the Niners look good. The Browns defense looks good. I think that's going to be a good game on Monday night.
There's one more game. I'm actually looking, like, a lot of these games are really interesting. Like, the Vikings-Giants game, the Vikings are 2-2, and so are the Giants.
The Vikings have not looked good.
The Giants could have a winning record with the Cowboys. Potentially the Cowboys, Eagles, and Giants could all be 3-2.
Yeah, but the Cowboys would still sadly be in first place just because of the two divisional
that's true.
wins.
That is very true. And finally, the last game I want to touch on is
Eagles-Jets.
Exactly, yeah.
Eagles-Jets. Great game. Mainly just because the Eagles desperately need to keep winning.
Oh, yeah.
Those two losses, the Falcons, they should have never lost to the Falcons. Now, the first game they lost, that was a toss-up. The Lions played the Chiefs great last week, so I don't take that loss too hardly now if I'm the Eagles. Like, they saw what they were able to do against a great team like the Chiefs. They're not feeling too bad anymore. Carson Wentz just, if he keeps being himself and goes back to his ways how he was 2 years ago before his ACL tear, then he could have another MVP caliber season, but you never know. All right, and speaking of MVPs here, who you got so far?
So I think we can all agree that Patrick Mahomes is at the top of the MVP race.
Clearly.
The man has been unreal. I mean, wow, he lost a streak of 2 touchdowns per game last week. He didn't throw a single touchdown. Still, he played insanely well. Good credit to the Chiefs, though. Their rushing game is looking really good right now, and they don't even have Damian Williams. They have Shady McCoy and Darrell Williams in the backfield. They're looking really nice. Andy Reid,
these running back by committees are just taking over the league.
Oh, it is.
You
like,
see the Eagles
Niners
do it, the Niners,
exactly.
The Rams are trying it, but they have Todd Gurley. I would just focus more on him, honestly.
The top teams who don't really have that top running back, like if you look at the teams who have running back committee, it's been working out for them. Like they've been playing well. It's these top dog teams that it's been working for them. I don't know why the Rams are so into trying it out because Todd Gurley has always worked out for them in the past. If I were them, I know they're worried about his whole knee issue, but I mean Malcolm Brown's a great backup. Like you can keep running Todd Gurley the ball, and they also got Darrell Henderson. They haven't even used him yet, and they used the first-round draft pick on him. Like everyone was so curious about him coming into the season, like what they were going to do with him, and he just hasn't been doing much. So if I were them, I would just stick with what they've been doing last year. They got to the Super Bowl doing it by just running the ball to Todd Gurley.
Yeah, that's true. That and the defense.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you got to look at Christian McCaffrey. This dude has been outrageous. He's leading the league over in rushing and scrimmage yards out of the running back position. He's pretty close on receiving yards, but he's 140 yards more than the second place guy for scrimmage yards, and that's just insane from the running back. If his team was 4-0, I'm sure more people would be talking about him, honestly. He's just been what he's been able to do in a system like Carolina where Cam Newton's now gone and he's taken over the role as the main player. It is now his Panthers, I think, and not Cam Newton's. I think he is the focal point of that offense.
How crazy is this? Christian McCaffrey already has 411 rushing yards in the season in 4 games.
Yeah, he's only ahead of Leonard Fournette, who only has 400 yards because of his 200-plus rushing yard day.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only reason he's ahead currently. But just the fact he's been able to do that as a receiving back, they call him, then it's just outrageous that not enough people are talking about him, I think.
Now you're bringing up the Panthers, and now that they're 2-2, they started off 0-2, correct me if I'm wrong. And Kyle Allen, I believe, is 3-0
he's
as
good.
a Panther starter.
He is. So what does that mean for Cam Newton when he comes back?
That's what I was thinking. Hot take, is Kyle Allen going to take over the starting role? What are they going to do with Cam Newton?
He's been leading the team. Like, he leads the team very well. He's making accurate passes. The last game against the Texans, he fumbled, 3 times, but they were still able to control the game. Still able to win. He was still able to make crucial throws. But another player coming back is Melvin Gordon. Got to talk about him. I believe he is set to make his season debut this week, how do you feel about that?
I mean, I'm curious to see how he does. Like, the Chargers, honestly, they have a running back by committee, too. They got Austin Eckler and Justin Jackson. Austin Eckler is he's been playing so good this year.
He's leading the league in, receiving yards out of the running back position currently.
He's been doing a great job of filling the role of Melvin Gordon's shoes. Like, the Chargers weren't missing out on much without him, but now they have him back. That's a whole other offensive threat. They have him. Austin Eckler's been playing well, like I've been saying. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, and I'm curious to see how much the Chargers are going to use him if he's going to get the same exact workload that he's had in the past.
Yeah, now I'm thinking the Chargers are thinking that they do not have to pay Melvin Gordon. They have They have two very solid running backs in Jackson and Eckler. So maybe they just don't pay Melvin Gordon. Maybe they put him on the trading block. Maybe he takes a big payday somewhere. Not sure.
Yeah, for sure.
But these players holding out and then hoping to get big contracts, it works for a lot of them, but then you see it fail. So we'll see. I'd like to follow Melvin Gordon, see what he does this offseason.
Back to the MVP candidates. We got Patrick Mahomes, obvious, Christian McCaffrey. Who else do you think is just like the follow-up runners right now?
Yeah, we were kind of bouncing around.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about
you got ideas popping up the head.
Run all the way around.
Yeah.
A defensive player you got to look at, and I completely forgot about him. Shaquille Barrett for the Buccaneers.
Ooh.
He's got 9 sacks through 4 games.
That's crazy. Yeah.
He's on pace for, almost 26, 24?
Yeah, he's been playing unreal, too. The Buccaneers' defense isn't that great, but he's been helping them out big time
He's
now.
been a menace.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him as a defensive MVP and win MVP for the year. That would be great for him, honestly.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because you don't see – the last one considered for it was, I believe, J.J. Watt, and he got snubbed from it. But I think Shaquille Bennett, right?
Yeah.
He's good. I honestly think he's really good, and he's again, not enough people are talking about this. He's playing great. They're still talking about elite defenses. They don't talk about the individual players.
There's a lot of players in the league right now that people are looking over right now. Like, there's obviously like Mahomes, McCaffrey. I think people are looking more at players from last year that are outstanding, that are continuing what they're doing from last year. Like, Russell Wilson, honestly, he's been playing way better this year than he did last year. And then also maybe you have to deal with that. He got paid, and maybe it's like a little more like, I don't know, that's contributing somehow, giving him, I don't know, a little more boost of when he's on the field. But like I said, I would love to see Russell Wilson up there with Patrick Mahomes. Like, he's almost just as good as him right now. Like, he's, like you said, hasn't thrown an interception yet. Been winning games. He's been helping out his team. And you look at the Seattle's roster, and it's not that loaded. When you look at the Chiefs roster, they're stacked.
Yeah, if you keep playing smart football like that, then you are definitely playoff bound there. All right, last question before we get off here. What undefeated team out of the Patriots, Chiefs, and 49ers, who do you think is going to lose first?
I think, looking at the schedules, the Patriots don't really have a tough game coming up in a little bit. They got the Skins, Giants, and Jets, so those are all winnable games. I'm not sure I know this week the Colts play the Chiefs. That's a Sunday night game. I am not 100% sure who they play in the future. I know the Niners play the Browns. I honestly think the Browns could upset the Niners Monday night, so I'm going to go with the Niners are going to be the first undefeated team to lose.
Okay, I like that. I'm hoping to see – I know the Chiefs and Pats play each other week 14.
Yep.
So I'd love to see a battle of the undefeated.
That would be insane. I would love that. That'd be such a great game.
Yeah, it was hype last year. It was hype in the playoffs. I'd love to see round number 3, see what happens there. But all right, so
that pretty much wraps everything up. I think we hit everything. We had all of our points. There's nothing really else for us to hit on this week. I'm just looking forward to some of those big games this week, especially the Thursday night game. That's probably the game I'm looking forward to most this week. And I'm also really looking forward to the Ravens and Steelers and how the whole entire AFC North division plays out.
All right. For PSSN Sports Night at Penn State, I am Evan Lasek.
And I'm Austin Groft.
All right. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.
Thank you for watching our latest edition of Penn State Sports Night. If you're a fan of our content, please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more clips. Also follow us on Twitter at PSSNTV and on Instagram at PSU Sports Night to keep up with the action. For all my colleagues, we are Penn State Sports Night.